hope you're doing great. And I am super excited to be here. I hope that you can see me. So if you can see me wherever you are, can you please indicate? I would love to know that you can see me. Are we live? Are we live? We're using an app this evening, and we're hoping that that's working right. So if you can see me wherever you are, please indicate. Can you just either say hello, say hi, wherever you are, anywhere you are in the world, just type a message, let me know that you can see me, and we're going to kick off the program today. First and foremost, I want to say a very, very big thank you to everyone who was on the show yesterday. It was an incredible edition of the show. We had fantastic comments from people. We had Anna from Italy. We had Kim from the USA. We had somebody else from, where was it again? From Sierra Leone, Sibongile. And they were all sharing. What we wanted to do yesterday was to do a trip around the world to kind of see what was happening with people with regards to the COVID-19, to see how people were responding to it in the different countries where we'd had stories, especially a place like Italy. The people are quite devastated. But it was also beautiful to hear the positives coming out of a place like Italy, how people have become so supportive, singing across the balcony. We saw the balconies yesterday. People were still indoor at that time, but Anna told us that at 6 o'clock, people come out and they sing. So yesterday we said we were going to try and address the elephant in the room. And we were going to look at the issue of leadership in Christendom. People are thinking and feeling right now with regards to leadership. Okay, so somebody's trying to reach me here, so we're going to try and all right, so we carry on with this. So as it is today, we're going to be chatting with two leaders in different churches. We said we're going to talk about leadership in Christendom and how people are feeling presently, especially those who are Christians. Do they feel that leaders are leading them aright or are leading astray? So I'm just going to let people get into this conversation. And my first guests are pastors in a Dublin church. I'm going to ask them to join me right now. Hi, Pastor Pat and Pastor Shan.
Hi, Yemi. How are you?
I'm very, very good. It's great to have you both on the show today.
Great.
I'm very excited to have you both. Can you tell people, for those who don't know you, can you tell people who you are? I know you guys. Pastor Pat has been my pastor for donkey years, and Pastor Shan as well. Did I just say donkey years? Well, at this stage, it does feel like donkey years, doesn't it?
You make me feel old.
I know. And Pastor Pat is an apostle in the Apostolic Church. And really and truly, I want you guys to introduce yourselves to people. Can you please go ahead and do that?
I'm Pastor Pat Fitzgerald. I'm the pastor of the People's Church in All Hallows Campus at present. We've been pastoring for nearly 20 years or more. And so it's great to be here with you, Yemi, an old friend, an old colleague. So it's great to be together.
Yeah. And I'm Sharon, married to Pat. And so we run the People's Church, which is the Apostolic Church Dublin. And we've been serving here for 20 years. And I was born in a pastor's home and raised there. And we've been working here serving God and getting to know wonderful people like Yemi over those years. So, yeah.
So, Pastor Shan, you're one of those kind of pastors they'll call a pastor's kid as well.
Oh, exactly. Pastor's kid, pastor's wife, and now pastor. Like, where did I go wrong?
A pastor's kid and a pastor's wife. Great to have you both on the program. Okay, so before I get into it, I also want to introduce two other guests that we have that will be joining us. I've got joining us from Ireland as well, in if I'm correct, in Balbriggan. I've got Pastor Popola. You're live with us. Hello, Pastor Popola. Can you hear me? Pastor Tosi, can you hear me?
Unfortunately, we can't hear you.
Oh, okay. So, hi, can you
Yes.
see me? Can you see me?
Okay.
Yeah, we can see you.
And can you hear me now?
Yes.
Very good, very good. You're both very welcome to sharing with Yemi. I'm delighted to have you both here. Yes, I can see you both now. I'm delighted to have both of you here. Can you please introduce yourselves to people who are watching live now?
My name is Kyle Popola. I am a child of God and I pastor a church in Breda. A member of the Christian Church of God, Irish. And I've been a Christian for over 25 years. So,
Very good.
and I've been pastoring in Ireland for almost 12 years.
Wow, very good. Lovely to meet you
And
here.
my name is
Yes,
Tosi Popola.
and they call you Mommy P.
Family call Mommy P. Anyway, I co-pastor with my husband and in Brother Redeemed Christian Church of God, Seat of Mercy.
You're both very, very welcome to the program.
Thank
It's
you.
lovely to have you on. Okay, so I'm going to go back to Pastor Shan and Pastor Pat, and we're going to have a conversation first, and then I'll come back to both of you, if that's okay.
That's
And perhaps then a way that you can also link in, if you can't hear them talking, if you look at the live show on my page, you'll be able to hear what they're saying, and then I'll come back to you if that helps.
Okay.
I know we're trying to work out technology here today, so we'll make this work. We'll make this work. So I'm going to go back to Pastor Shan and Pastor Pat. And right now, there's a big talk all around Christendom. I don't want to say in the country because this goes beyond Ireland. It's Christendom in different parts of the world, about the leadership in Christendom. Some people are of the opinion that Christian leaders are not showing the way in leadership as they ought. Why? Because as it is, there are rules and regulations and laws in all the different countries that have asked people to stay indoor, self-isolate, and ensure that they keep if possible, especially even when you're in the house as well, keep the social distancing, especially if you have somebody who's just coming to the house and you're not sure where they've been and all of that bit. So I don't know if you've really heard about this, but what's your take on this as pastors?
Do you want me to go?
Yeah, go for it.
Well, you
Yeah,
know, I've been quite outspoken on this, and anybody who's on our Facebook page or on our church live streams will have seen that. But I am fully endorsing the direction of our government, and I think it's really important as Christian leaders that we encourage our people to do that. I don't really see that there's any benefit or grounds to disrespect those that God has put in authority over us in this country, particularly at this time. You know, the leaders of this country are facing probably one of the most I don't know what's the word. It's unbelievable what they're facing, and my feeling is, as Christian leaders, it's our duty to encourage our people to submit to that authority, fall in line with that authority, and respect that authority. I'm sort of flabbergasted a little bit, you know, even when I'm out and about, you know, doing the odd, we're only keeping all of our runs to a minimum, but if I have to go to the supermarket or anything, I'm flabbergasted to see lots of people out walking, lots of people, okay, you know, walking separately, but then when you see crowds of people in places where they're actually, you can see them crossing over each other. We saw it the other day. We've just been going out for drives just to get out of the house, just staying in the car. And we saw down at Dunleary Seafront, there was crowds of people, and, you know, you can say they were socially distancing, but they weren't, because they were crossing over each other. And we've been really encouraging our people to, first of all, pray for the government, pray for wisdom and direction.
Which is very key at this time.
Yeah, we need our government to stay healthy and strong, and we want them to lead us. And we've been really encouraging all of our congregation, anybody that we're in contact with, our children, our family, to 100% adhere to the guidelines that have been put in place for our protection.
Well, there is a verse, Yemi, that Jesus was confronted one time about taxes, And he said this, he said, well, give to Caesar's what is Caesar and give to God what is God's. So he differentiated between the church and government, basically. And I think as Christians, we have to be humble enough to obey God's word, but also humble enough to support our government. And at this point, as church leaders, it is our duty and our honor to steer our people in support of what the government are asking us. It is wrong to do something opposite to that. So for me, we're trying constantly to encourage our people, encourage as many Christians that we can come into contact and say, listen, guys, let's pray for a government, but let's obey our government and let's support the government at this time. And I think we'll win more fans that way, Yemi, than the other way, to be honest. That's right at this point, you know.
Thank you so much, Pastor Pat and Shan. And I'm going to go to Pastor Popola, the Popolas now. And just recently there was a video trending, and even this morning people were still sharing that video, Pastor Popola, about a leader in Africa who had a church service on last Sunday, even after people had been instructed to self-isolate and stay at home. And his church would, on a given Sunday, hold in the good numbers of about in thousands, really and truly, not even in the hundreds. And he still had a large service on Sunday. So, Pastor Spopola, what would your take be on that?
Actually, from African side, I think in Nigeria they said a maximum of 20 gathering as at the time. I would say, unfortunately, that is wrong, because as leaders, we should be a good example. And as a shepherd, we should be a good example to our followers. So I believe that it's wrong to take that stand at that particular time for the safety of the people. It doesn't mean we lack faith. Even we are told that faith without works is dead. So part of the walking is adhering to the government rules and regulations.
I love that. Before I bring on Pastor K, I love the part where you said it doesn't mean that we lack faith. I really love that it doesn't mean that we lack faith. Because one of the things that we've been hearing is that Christians shouldn't be afraid. Christians have faith, so they shouldn't be afraid. They're not going to be touched by Corona. They won't be impacted by Corona. Pastor K, what's your take on that?
Well, what my wife said, church is part of a global community. We are not existing in isolation, and we, as a good leader,
Can I ask that maybe if, we don't seem to hear you. So maybe if you turned your system towards Pastor K, perhaps we would hear him a bit better. Let's see if that works.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Very good. We can hear you better now. Yes,
Okay.
we can.
I said earlier that every church is a part of a global community. Church is not existing in isolation. So, whatever the government is doing politically, church is also helping to do same thing, but in another angle. So, having said that, we should work together. We should cooperate with government to ensure safety of the people physically and mentally and also spiritually, right? So now back to your question vis-a-vis the people that gathered, right? Well, unfortunately,
Absolutely.
we can't. I can't speak for that pastor, but based on what we have read, based on what we have seen, is quite an unfortunate incident. We should be cooperative to to ensure the civil peace and health of the populace.
Thank you so much, sir. I'm going to encourage people to start sending, if you have questions, start sending in your questions, because in a few minutes, we're going to throw questions, and our pastors are here to help us address these issues, because this is something, it did feel like the elephant in the room. People weren't willing to talk about it. People who spoke about it were being castigated. It felt like they were unbelievers and that they weren't trusting and believing in God. Because they were saying, come on, guys, we need to obey the rules. We need to obey the laws of the land. Where there's no law, there's no sin. And so we must follow the laws, especially the laws that are laid down by the HSC in a place like Ireland. But a lot of people don't seem to be listening to that. So I would love for you, for people, if you can hear us, to start to send in your questions, or perhaps your comments as well. And in a few minutes, we'll start to address that. I'm going to come back to you, Pastor Popola. Some people have said, and I'll ask the same question of Pastor Pat and Shan. Some people have said that the leaders, the religious leaders, especially the Christian leaders, that have asked people to come to service, regardless of the laws in each country, that they're doing that because they want the people to still pay their tithes and offering. Will that be true? That's what people feel. This is what is flying around on social media. Do you think that's true? Okay, we can't hear you, so we'll try this again. Can you hear me? Can you both hear me? You can hear me, but it doesn't seem like I can hear you. I don't know if other people can hear you. Okay, I'll try and come back to you. I'll go to Pastor Shan and Pastor Patrick right now and see, can you both hear me? Very good. I hope people can hear you. We seem to have a technical here. But let's see, can you tell me, guys, if you can hear them as they're talking? The question is, what's your take on the fact that people are saying on social media that the reason the leaders are gathering congregants still is because of tithes and offering? What's your take on that?